What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Paul Hall, Chocolate Sane, Righteous Force, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome one and all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
And hello, Arwin. Good to have you.
Hello, guys.
Hey, Arwin.
I had planned on doing the housekeeping questions in a different order, but Bev's not here, so I don't think we'll spend 25 minutes on the first question. Not that I've got any issue with that, but just, maybe we can put that to the end if it's in reverse order, but I don't think that's necessary without Bev here. We'll see. Anyway. Any signs of physical Earth curve edges, formerly known as the geometric horizon?
Not from West Memphis.
No.
Nowhere.
Gold Coast, Australia.
We don't see the geometric horizon.
Yeah. Unless, maybe you could go to a very moist region or something like a swamp, and then, there would be a little bit more refraction going on of the regular kind, and then you might have some more limitation to your view, and then you could think of that diffraction limit induced optical slant effect, the horizon, the apparent horizon, to be a geometric, but that's only a mind experiment, not real, because it is.
In other
just a
words,
diffraction
no.
limit.
The Earth is obviously and observably flat. Moreover, it's actually unreasonable to ask for proof of a flat Earth, because I liken it to asking for proof of trees while staring at a forest, right? It's ridiculous. It's obvious and observable.
Exactly.
Simple.
The base, the initial starting point would be standard geometry and flatness, and that's what's utilised to build things. So beyond what is obviously and observably the nature of our reality and what is utilised to build things, there is no other claim being made. There's no positive assertion to defend. So the positive assertion becomes the insertion of an R value based on a physical geometric sphere edge horizon that's been debunked with the black swan. But the only people with a positive claim are the ones who believe they're on a sphere.
Exactly.
You're right.
And they're the ones that need to provide proof for their outrageous claim.
Exactly.
Right?
They're the ones with the positive claim. They're the ones that have to back their nonsense. Shout out to Trey Clark Theories for the super chat. Just gives me money. Thank you very much indeed, Trey. Really appreciate your support. Well, I won't lie. It's tough times. Anyway, moving on. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
No.
No.
Be tough to live on the ball that's moving.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Definitely no evidence, no.
Too cloudy.
Somewhere
Yeah,
in
it
the
is too
sky.
cloudy, but I don't think you'd have the distance if you could see it, right, Arwin?
Yeah, I don't know. Hard to tell, It's all these
It's in the
angles,
sky.
all these angles everywhere that appear to be there, even like in how the sunlight seems to hit the clouds and all that. So yeah, angular wise, I could pinpoint it to be somewhere, apparently, but that doesn't really give me any literal position. Just seems to be there.
It's in the sky.
But apparently a guy that lived several thousands of years ago knew exactly what the sun was and what it was doing and how the rays were coming in and everything. So, you know.
Yeah, I think Chocolate brought that up. Every time we ask for any kind of evidence, they go back to a few people a few thousand years ago. They don't have anything new?
Yeah, I'm still looking for the guy that did it last month. I'm still on
What,
that.
sticks in the ground?
Where's that guy? Whoever confirmed this radius or whatever the hell it is that we're talking about, because they want to talk about how they're so advanced in technology, but when we ask where they get the radius, oh, some guy with sticks. Like, really?
No, Chocolate, they have satellites now to tell us it's a globe.
Well, they could easily prove the guy with the sticks just by showing us the geometric horizon where it's supposed to be.
Did the sticks tell him where the geometric horizon was supposed to be? Because apparently we can't see it because we have air. So was the guy with the sticks, did it breathe? Did he not breathe air or something? Like, how does that work? Their stories just become so stupid that it's beyond belief.
So you brought no Atmo Day to the guy with the sticks.
Yep.
See, the guy with the sticks didn't know that his future partners in crime would say it could only happen if there was no Atmo, because he did it with Atmo and sticks.
No, the guy with the sticks didn't communicate to the guy on the mountain looking at a horizon that the horizon he'd be looking at is only a refracted one, so that he wouldn't be able to actually calculate where the geometric one is, because we don't see that one, being that it's called a horizon and we should see it, but we don't see it because this is nonsense. So yeah.
Morning,
This is
Brian.
the best though. This has been happening for years now. Nathan will ask a housekeeping question. It'll be dead air, and then we have to fill in the gaps with what the Globers would say or their ridiculous excuses. That's why I love his show, because like you never actually get any, or when you do, they come in and say stupid shit like Jazza. I mean, that guy's drunk most of the time, so I would ignore him off the bat. But yeah, typical.
They still say boats over the horizon are proof, though. I hear them every day.
No, they don't. No, they can't. We do not see the geometric horizon, Neil.
I know, but they say it. Last night on 24/7, there was a guy sounded just like Kosho. Same thing.
Oh, well,
No show.
It was probably Kosho.
with time, the people around us, it's going to take a little bit of time. It's not like the gas pressure without a container argument, where generally most people understand how to put a fundy up against the wall with it. The black swan's going to take a little bit longer. And with time, it might be 12 months from now, somebody on the panel would just go, Black Swan. And that would be the end of the conversation.
And that's usually me.
Chocolate, yep.
Black Swan.
Well, if you're going to presuppose a sphere with an R value and then never give any cowbell, that pretty much tells everyone that it's not real.
Well, they never had any cowbell. It was always a fundamentalist religious presupposition. But because they just imposed their religious presupposition, we just had to tolerate it and point out how it's not reasonable to presuppose R. So that's where we get the, not said this for a while, begging the question, proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator. Now, the reason it got termed that is because on their side of the argument, they say, well, it's perfectly acceptable to assume R. We know we're on a sphere. And we say, no, we don't know we're on a sphere. It's not acceptable to insert R. So it's essentially a draw. We just have to point out how their ludicrous position is that everything's a hologram and they've got to insert R values. But when you debunk R, as opposed to point out that it's not reasonable to presuppose it, they're still presupposing it without cowbell, but now they can't presuppose it. Their own defense is, we do not see the geometric horizon. Now it's untenable. They can't presuppose R anymore. They're buggered completely.
Yeah.
No more globe Earth models, no more geometric horizons blocking things with a qualifiable obscured or obstructed or hidden values. No. That would require we see a physical geometric sphere edge for a horizon now, wouldn't it? It'd require that it was your ball edge getting in the way now, wouldn't it? And as soon as we disprove it, it's no longer tenable. So they can't get their draw anymore. They can't just go back to the calculator, because all you got to do is whisper Black Swan and have them go, oh, no, Black Swan's, the defense to Black Swan is we don't see the geometric horizon. Oh, yeah, so what's this boat going over again? And then you watch them squirm. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Nope. Not a force. Even though you can think of it
The
as
thing
one.
is, people are still talking mass attracting mass in like,
To me, or is
sermons
Arwen
like
very
John
muffled?
Sanders. It's sorry.
Are you on the other side of the room, Arwen? You're very muffled.
Me?
Yeah.
That wasn't
no,
me.
I'm just
That wasn't Arwen.
set up.
Okay. Could just be me.
Maybe I'll
Reset.
relog in.
Just nobody talk for a second. I'm just going to reset. Would you give me a sound check in Discord?
Hello.
Check.
Perfect. Arwen, can you give me a quick sound check?
Yeah? Can you hear me?
Yes, much better.
All right.
I don't know why it went muffled. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Nope.
Not viable.
Most
Any-
of them don't even know what a hypothesis is, so kind of a tough ask, that one.
Yeah, you can have a hypothesis for anything if you want to make it sound valid. Oh well, my hypothesis is that Goodyear tyres will provide much better grip than Firestone. Oh, what do you know? I've gone out in a BMW and I've checked scientifically which one has more grip, and my hypothesis was proven. So therefore, Goodyear are scientifically better than Firestone. Science! No, none of that was science. That was all nonsense. Completely made up. Adding validity with these words like hypothesis and science. Completely hijacking an empirical term to offer some seeming validity to your claim of science when talking about tyres, or talking about globe Earth, or talking about the stars. Yeah, they'll say science, so you think it's empirically proven. Well, no, it would be empirically proven with a valid scientific experiment based on natural phenomena if it was science. They never have that. They just have pseudoscience and made-up stories that they call science. Actually pseudoscience.
Exactly. I love getting globers when they always claim, Einstein hypothesized this, and that's when I'm going, okay, what was the hypothesis then? And observe natural phenomena, please. They never have one. Sad.
Shout out to Quantum Eraser. He's taught us well.
Yep.
Who would have thought that boring lesson when you were scrawling little beards on sperms on page 37, that they would teach you about the scientific method in that very same lesson, and you'd actually find it useful?
Later on, you'd be using that same method to debunk the very nonsense you're learning currently.
Yeah,
That's pretty
what I mean.
ironic, isn't it?
That's what I mean. You'd take that little snippet of information from that class and not realise at the time, because like you say, you're in school and you're bored and you're just thinking about the next time you get to go outside while you're scribbling on the desk. But little did you know that you were being told about the empiricism of science, and how later in the education system you would be told about basically pseudoscience in all regards in a class called science. And you wouldn't realise where you'd had a little magic trick performed on you. But then someone like Quantum Eraser comes along and goes, you were taught this in 5th grade. This isn't nonsense. This is how it's taught for a reason, because it's factually accurate and empirical. And it is science. You know it instinctually. But after that, every other lesson that you were taught about something that wasn't science was in a class called science. You just didn't make the connection.
Fight the flat earth must have missed that class because he doesn't know it. Yeah, he knows how to use Google, all right. That's all he knows.
Brian, my dude, once again, let me shout out to you, bro, because yeah, that was fantastic against what's his new name? Photosynthetic hillbilly.
Blue Marble
Great.
Science, yeah. Thanks a lot, man.
Did you hear Quantum Erason's show? I'll give it a plug, Brian, if you haven't.
Oh, I was listening yesterday. I was commenting in the chat.
Okay, I didn't have a close eye on the chat. So yesterday on the Quantum Eraser channel, he did a show exposing Blue Marble Science for his complete nonsense, doublespeak, contradictions. It took a long time to dissect it. He put a lot of work into it. He was criticised by both me and Robert Bassano for like, why are you dealing with these numbskulls? They're clearly retarded. It's like, well, no, actually, they're fairly well respected in this community. They're looked at and quoted fairly often. So as much as it's frustrating to dissect complete doublespeak and contradiction for a couple of hours, and the amount of work was far, far beyond that. He sent me the presentation prior to him doing it, and I'm like, whoa, you put the effort in here. Wow, shout out to Rakia Life for the $100 super chat. Woo, 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 woo. I love life. I love my job. I love truth. I love my creator. No room for hate, Rakia Life. Yeah, bang on. Life is pretty sweet, Rakia Life. I'm not going to deny it. Other than, and this didn't make it to the after show because I didn't record it, the poison and nonsense and fear porn that's perpetuated in our own little community by people who've bought into side narratives designed to scare the crap out of them. And if you don't bite on one, you'll bite on another, and you'll perpetuate fear rather than love and happiness. So I appreciate your hippie notions. Thanks for the super chat, Rakia Life. Really appreciate your support. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
Rakia Life's a fairly humble guy, you know. Just saying it because he drops quite a lot of money in super chats on me, and obviously I'm very grateful. I try and express that each time. But having watched a few of his videos, he's a humble guy. He's not like some super duper millionaire. He's just a humble guy doing his stuff, enjoying what he does. I'm not gonna lie, I'm quite jealous of what he does. I said it yesterday. He's operating heavy machinery, and it's like big and making lots of noises, and it's cool. You know, I just think it's cool. But anyway, that he's just a dude, and you think, yeah, for him to go into his own back pocket and drop money on me like that, you're like, big shout out to you. Thank you very much, mate. I do appreciate it. I wish I could do the same for other people. Anyway, let's move on with housekeeping. Enough butt kissing for my contributors. Shout out to Rakia. Go and check him out. He's got a channel. Where were we in housekeeping? Any evidence to the R value? Earth radius.
Black Swan.
According to Fight the Flat Earth, they know it's there because they know the coefficient of refraction.
The coefficient of refraction. Hold on. The coefficient of refraction isn't what's included in their begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator. They use 7/6R, or a variant thereof if they want to fudge the numbers depending on the weather conditions. But their refraction is based on an R value. It's not based on any coefficient of anything.
This is what he's saying. This is what he said to me at the very end of the show. I was on there the other night with him. It was more or less the exact end, if I remember correctly. Excuse me. He said,
Did he get that from Nicktoon?
I don't care. I don't care where he got it from. Let me just correct it. Right, I don't care. Let's just correct him. No. Terrestrial refraction. The refraction used in your begging the question proof of nothing perspective hijacking curve calculator is based on R. It'll be a number, a multiplier that doesn't give you anything other than something based on R. Because that's what it utilises.
yeah, at the time, I wish I was more level-headed at that particular moment, because then I would have been thinking about exactly where it came from. I don't remember. I just brushed it off as nonsense. But if I had my head level, I would have said what you just said. But I didn't have my head level at the time because I was arguing with him and the other one. But anyway, this is what he's claiming: the coefficient of refraction.
Well, if the way you prove something is there by not being there, that's a pretty weak argument.
No, this is a magic trick. So, in this argument, you've got to seem reasonably educated in terms of what actual refractive effects are. Now, what I mean by that is when you look out your window and see something, being able to, in an intelligent way, qualify what's happening. Doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. Just seem intelligent and talk about what's happening in the air with your eyes. Because at some point, that's a bait and switch. At some point, you're going to impose the geometric 7/6R or some derivative thereon of the R value. That's what terrestrial refraction, the geometric refraction calculated in their maths, that they're claiming proves a sphere Earth with a geometric horizon, uses. So it's only based on the R value. It requires R. And R, what is R? Well, it's the radius. What's that in real terms? Well, in their model, real terms, R gives them a geometric horizon. That's the X marks the spot where it touches the sphere edge. It's called a tangent point. You draw a straight line from you as the observer to the tangent point, and then beyond that, on a straight line infinitely extending out, you've got a below point and an above point. And the below point is what they call hidden. Hidden by what? Well, hidden by the R-based value geometric horizon, also utilised in their refraction at 7/6R, called in some instances standard refraction, accurately labelled terrestrial refraction. That's what it is. That is their refraction. So therefore, to make you think, Brian, that they know what they're talking about when they start talking about coefficients, it's to then bait and switch you with what they'll use in their maths, which absolutely has nothing to do with that. They might come along like Midwesters and say, look, if you click on my link in my calculator, it takes you to a completely unrelated site that never even mentions radius, and that's talking all about coefficients. And you go, well, that's just part of your bait and switch. That's you showing me the suitcase full of money. But there's no R value in there, in your little suitcase, that you're going to switch out for your terrestrial refraction at a later date, when I don't notice.
Yeah, he even used this diagram that he put up that would show a hill or like at the top of a mountain, and it had like a tripod with a theodolite on it, and someone looking through the theodolite kind of thing, or that's the inference. And it had two lines, a straight line out from the lens of the theodolite, and another one bending down. Right, so you actually had a diagram showing a bending tangent line. And that the bending tangent.
Donkey dick geometry.
Yes, that's literally exactly what he had. Two tangent lines on the same diagram, coming from the same theodolite.
Yeah, and
two tangent lines.
What's the straight one? Well, the straight one is to the horizon that we don't see.
Yeah, this nonsense.
Yeah.
If a horizon is a horizon that we don't see, is it a horizon?
No, a horizon is an apparent, meaning you can see it. It doesn't make it physical or actual, but apparent means it's there, you can see it. Like apparent deflection, if you're on a roundabout and you look at a lamppost that's not on the roundabout, cemented into the ground as you spin, it seems like it's moving towards you as you spin towards it, and then seems like it spins away from you as you go past it, and then it seems like it spins towards you. Seems like apparent. Now, it doesn't mean that the lampost's moving, it's an apparent thing. Looks like, not actual, not physical, not really, not actual. That's what apparent means. So an apparent horizon, they're all apparent by definition, that's what a horizon is. It's the apparent position where the sky appears to meet the ground. That would be in a redundant term I inserted there. Two apparents, not needed. So the apparent position where the sky meets the ground means you can see it. So if we have a horizon that's got a physical geometric sphere edge attached to it with a tangent point and a straight line drawn to it, but we don't see it, then it's not a horizon. It's only a horizon in existence in a geometric model at that point, because if we don't see it, it's not the horizon. Now, it doesn't change the fact that they absolutely must have a geometric horizon. Their R value dictates it, and it's what they use to claim we're on a sphere. Well, look how much the geometric physical sphere horizon is blocking this boat in the distance, or this set of buildings, or the Chicago skyline. That's all being blocked by this physical geometric sphere edge, the horizon, according to them, until it's no longer got a straight line being drawn to it. because everything's refracted. Suddenly we've got a double speak contradiction in their maths. If you haven't got a physical straight line being drawn to it, and we can't see it, it's not a horizon. It only exists in your model. So we've got a horizon that only exists in the geometric sphere model. It's not the horizon we see. We do not see the geometric horizon. Well, then it's not real. Then we don't have one. Then the horizon we see is not the geometric horizon marked with an X in a geometric model of a sphere Earth. That is not our reality. If it only exists in your model, then it's just a model. It's not real. It's not the world. The horizon we see, on the other hand, moves around with the weather, may or may not cause things to disappear in the distance depending on how clear the day is. Yeah, that's what we've got in terms of horizon. It doesn't physically stay anywhere or block anything physically ever, because it's not physical, it's not a sphere edge. As I say, their defence to this whole argument, the Black Swan argument, is we don't see it. And it's not real.
Well, based on that illogical statement from them, we shouldn't see the two oil platforms.
No, they're physical in terms of they're actually being there. But in their model, it's all refracted. They're not physical, they're refracted.
Hang on, you said the key word. They're physical. So when I think of curvature and curve, I could see that. I could see it on land, where there's a valley or a hill. I see it on objects like pieces of lumber, a car, the contour of a car. Oil platforms, we know how far they're off the coast of California. 9.4 miles is the furthest one, I believe, platform habitat. And we see it. But the geometric horizon that should be physical is 1.22 miles, but we don't see that. That's a lot easier to see if it was actually there.
And very close. So what's the chances, eh? Not getting any refraction when it's very, very, very close? Like within, easily within your visual acuity? Or you're going to see it when you're high up a mountain, looking down through all these different density gradients of different atmospheres. It gets thinner and thinner, as they always tell us when they straw man us against how we'd have that gas pressure if the sky was a vacuum. But we've definitely got all these layers. Yeah, we're all in concession in that regard. But yet that gives you a physical geometric horizon to extrapolate out an R value, does it? No, we've definitely got a donkey dick horizon. Definitely got a bent line to it. Definitely all refracted. Definitely not a straight line. Definitely not got a tangent point to equivocate with when you're up high on a mountain. But apparently, when we're down close to the ground and you're only looking a mile away, something I can see easily with my eyes aren't terrible, but apparently at that point it can be refracted beyond something that's physical and at 9 miles. It just makes no sense.
Maybe I'm a bit of a weirdo, I don't know. But when I think about that, right? Say you're looking at the horizon behind both platforms, right? So we're told right now currently that we're only seeing that far because we have an atmosphere, right? Because everything is refracting, and the only reason we don't see the geometric horizon is because of atmosphere. So sitting out there at the beach looking at that horizon, let's say I were to snap my fingers and the entire atmosphere disappears. So the horizon is going to all of a sudden appear at a mile away from me because I've removed the atmosphere. Is that what they think would happen? By saying that we don't see it because of atmosphere. So I snap my fingers and all of a sudden the horizon's at a mile away while I'm standing on that beach. Is that what I'm supposed to believe? Because that makes no sense.
That is what you're supposed to believe.
Nah.
Nah.
Nah, I'm good.
Well, not only that, Chocolate, but what you just said would also have to bear out for the two oil platforms as well. So if they're being refracted, just like the horizon's being refracted, and in the image we see the horizon behind the second platform, then that means that day where there is no atmosphere that you just described, the two oil platforms would have to be less than a mile away.
You're right, but it's not relevant to the argument. I mean, ultimately speaking, all we're really arguing about is the horizon itself. It should be there at a mile. Obviously, it isn't. Well, therefore, at that point, they have no escape. Because at that point, they've got to declare that the horizon we see isn't the horizon in their model. That's their rebuttal. It's game over at that point. Essentially, we've forced them into a point of concession. Well, it's not the horizon in our model then. But they throw that back in your face like it's a defence, and it really isn't.
No, you're right.
Oh, yeah.
For the quick death, you're right. But if you want to just play with the cat and mouse thing a little bit, then you got to say, well, according to the state of California, the measured distance off a shore from the shore to the first platform and the measured distance from shore to the second platform is in the books. They're exactly that far off. How do they measure the distances from shore if that's not real distances?
I see where you're going, but as a sideline, yeah, I'm not going to disagree. You're correct. But ultimately speaking, their only use, as far as I can see, is to demarcate where the claimed physical horizon would be. And it's obviously beyond those points at those markers. So therefore it's beyond 10 miles. That's all we need. It's supposed to be at a mile. So it's no longer the geometric horizon from their sphere model. That is game over.
Right. And then they'll come in with the stupid argument of refraction, and then we tear that apart with one more statement. Then that means the two oil wells are in front of it and they're being refracted to the 9.4 miles.
Yeah, but you're back to the oil wells, and it's not relevant because as soon as you say, oh, well, they give you the stupid rebuttal of refraction. No, that's part of the concession. If it's refracted, it's not geometric. That's still part of the, well, we're not seeing our geometric horizon in our geometric sphere model. We prove Earth was a sphere anymore. We don't see the geometric horizon. It's refracted. Well, if it's refracted, it's not geometric. That's still part of the same concession. So you don't need to suddenly argue about what the oil platforms are doing. All they're doing is marking out where the horizon was. And if they say it's refracted, well, that's still game over.
Yeah, it's game over either way. Yours is quicker.
They want to go around the Reekin. I don't want to go around the Reekin. And you're saying, well, if you want to toy with them, no, I don't. It's game over for the globe, and I'm going to point that out and bring it back on track real quick. Same as I do with the sky vacuum when they want to argue about pressure gradients. And I'm not going to, give anybody any ideas that there's any sort of game over get out when it comes to the Black Swan or gas pressure without a containment. It's the last housekeeping question, actually. We haven't got to it yet, but I don't want to kill this conversation.
That's why I love.
Oh, Neil.
I said that's why I love you, Nathan.
For what?
I like that you give it a quick kill. No play.
Yeah, they want to go around in circles and obfuscate that they've lost. And I want to keep them there indefinitely so that I can number off the amount of times that they've obfuscated their loss and squirmed. And by the time they're swearing at me or talking through me, it's so glaringly obvious to an audience what's going on. That's what I want. And they'll give it to me every single time because they want to flap when their religion's dead.
I actually said that the Fight the Flat Earth, his answer for the Black Swan, I didn't even specify just that picture, just all these Black Swan photographs, because all of them, because there's so many of them. And he says, it's refraction. And I said, well, it's not geometric then, as Nathan says, welcome to Flat Earth. And he didn't like that at all.
Yeah, because you're reaffirming their loss.
Yeah.
Because they expect you to say, what the fuck, and try to come back at them. And it's like, no, welcome to Flat Earth, brother. That's our argument.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to play the other card, though. You do need and require the understanding of what refraction is and what it is not in order to understand why you can get away with immediate demolition of their argument with a couple of words. Because if somebody does then challenge you and say, well, no, actually the refraction coefficient is blah, 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 and you don't know that, well, hold on, you've just been subject to a bait and switch. We're now not talking about what they use to claim geometric proof of Earth's sphericity. We're now talking about optical effects. They're using our argument suddenly. Why? Well, not because they need that to use our argument. It's not part of their argument. But so they can switch the briefcase with all the lovely optical effects in it that they've just talked about, close that briefcase, quickly switch it around with one that's got 7/6R in, and let you walk off into the sunset with your 7/6R. No. You need R for this refraction. R. Oh, well, R gives you a geometric horizon now, doesn't it? But we do not see the geometric horizon.
Game over. The same R that got destroyed by the argument that you're trying to use now to save the argument. No.
Exactly. And we're back on the rails with your death of your religion. Laid bare, and we'll go around in that circle a couple more times if you like. No, it's not. It's looming. Oh, looming? What, an actual effect of refraction? Well, number one, let's find out what you mean by looming, because I bet it isn't 7/6R.
Yeah, I asked Fight and Flat, like, it's not about me. It's just saying it's about him. This is why I'm saying this about him. I asked him 2 or 3 times, what are the effects of refraction? And he couldn't answer. I thought at first he wouldn't answer, but now at the end of the thing, I was thinking he literally couldn't answer. He wasn't sure of the 5 effects, and I didn't say the word 5 on purpose. I said, what are the effects of refraction? Because I didn't want to say 5 in case he could come up with 5 in his head and then name him out. I wanted him to think there could be 6 or 7 or 4 or something. You know what I mean? Yeah, but he wasn't able to come up with. He wasn't able to come up with anything. He told me at one point. I think he said, I don't know if it was hundreds or thousands of effects of refraction. Right? And I said to him, I said, well, would you name out a few? No. He couldn't name one. Now he must know one effect of refraction, but he all he could name out would be that, and he could remember in his head. He wouldn't have been named out any more than the 5 that are actually there. So when he put 1 second, Paul. When he pulled the whole, sorry, Paul, 1 second. When he pulled the coefficient thing on me, it was at the very end, and he was also muting me at the time. And I just, there was just no more. Like, it was 3:15 in the morning. It was the thing was over. I was leaving, so that was the only time he could throw that in there. Because otherwise, I would have been on him about it. You know.
Well, they say, yeah, they ask me, or they ask all the time, well, what effects can cause things to disappear on a flat Earth? And I asked them, well, can you define what sinking is? And they refuse to do that because they know once they define it, it shows that that's possible, because that's an effect of refraction. So even just trying to get them to say something like, or define something, and they refuse to, like Zanuck would not. Nobody would yesterday when I brought this up. Nobody would define sinking. They would say it's refraction. Well, what is it? Describe what it did. What is occurring? What's the visual effect?
Well,
they wouldn't do it.
Well, when they get in trouble like that, they should turn to Timmy Clown, who has all 76 different things that flat earthers use as excuses as to why boats disappear. Right? All optical effects. And he makes fun of us like, oh, look what the flat earthers say.
And in
But
the other
you
column,
guys-
Chocolate, in the other
Go ahead,
column,
go ahead.
if those are all the excuses for why things have disappeared from bottom up, in the column for the affirmative claim that the Earth is a sphere, what's their only reason in their column? Because there is only one in their column of reasons.
That would be Earth curvature.
The R value, the assumption that Earth is a sphere, is the only cause of any effect in the distance ever. And if you're to assert that there's optical effects going on, well, no, you've got geometric 7/6 of the R value as your claimed to be refraction, actually terrestrial refraction, meaning 7/6R, based on R, giving you a physical geometric sphere edge, debunked by the Black Swan. That's their refraction.
I said it to Zanuck, Paul, about
I just got one.
before.
Sorry, Paul. Sorry, Brian.
Nathan.
Just one sec. The point, I just lost pausing for dramatic effect. The point is that they've got 2 columns: excuses for Earth curve and Earth curve. So they've got one assertion in their column and a list of 76 different things that you can easily demonstrate and have been proven by demonstration by various different people with P900s and P1000s and phone cameras and camera phones. Those have all been demonstrated as things that actually happen. And you can qualify them with various different effects. There's 5 different effects of refraction that you could detail. But they've only got one thing in their column, which is Earth curve. And the subsidiary of Earth curve is terrestrial refraction, which uses Earth curve, R. So it's R and R with 7/6 before it. So that's what they've only got one claim.
It's too bad when he came in with that list, he didn't see that months later, his side would be conceding that they don't see the geometric horizon. It's kind of funny how that worked out.
Which means the only thing in their list, so excuses for Earth curve. Oh, right. So when we debunk our Earth curve, you've not got excuses for Earth curve anymore. It's just this is a list of things that happens, none of which are ever accounted for when you say it's Earth curve, because you've only got one cause, Earth curve.
The whole thing about sinking is that they try and say, this is what I was saying about the Paul there a minute ago. So I didn't realize you were pausing for dramatic effect at the time.
That's okay.
The whole thing about sinking is the very answer I got of Zanuck is the very answer I get off all of them. They say, oh, that's a very, very rare thing, right? But it's not a rare thing. It's not a rare thing at all. It's very common. But they want to say it's a rare thing because sinking means it can look like something has gone over a curve when it's just sinking. Do you know what I mean? And they don't want that to be a common thing. They want that to be an extremely rare, mysterious thing that only happens once every 500 years. You know, because that's what I got of Zanuck.
Yeah, they didn't want to admit it because I think they knew, especially with everybody listening, as soon as they knew they admit it, and there is an effect that can cause it, they won't do it.
What are the 5 effects? Is it stretching, shortening, looming, and sinking plus mirages? Is that the list of 5?
Miraging, stooping, sinking, looming, and towering.
So where I've said stretching, it's stooping. No, stooping is like sinking, isn't it? Sinking and looming are like the contrapositive of each other.
Stooping is like compressed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I've got that wrong.
stooping
Okay.
is like it looks shorter than what it looks like, originally.
Yeah, so you've got one where it's shortened, one where it's stretched. So one's stretched out, one's shortened. Then there's one that's lifted and one that's lowered. So you've got lifting, lowering, stretching, and squashing, basically. And the 5th one is mirages.
Well, we don't have the lifting one. We don't have that. I mean, looming is what the photographs of Google show, which is just an effect of it looking like it lifted. Well, I know it, but I suppose you could say lifted, but I'm just saying it's not what they say as in things looming up over an horizon. It's just the sky mirroring onto the water, isn't it?
Yeah, sky mirrors below an object like a boat, and then you've got a false horizon where the sky is mirage below itself, but you can still see the boat. So you end up with a false horizon looking like the sky is below the boat. Obviously the boat's on water, but it looks like it's flying in the sky.
Yeah, that's exactly what looming is. That's exactly what Google gave you.
Yeah, but for many years...
I almost feel like they kind of have to say sinking is something rare, because wouldn't that literally be the same effect that we see of boats going under the horizon, into the horizon, disappearing bottom up?
Back before
thing.
Before the Black Swan argument existed, you had quantum erasers getting them to justify what the 5 different effects of refraction were, because then he would juxtapose it by saying, well, I can just say sinking. If you're going to say, no, the reason I'm fudging the maths, i.e. 7/6R changing to a different value, is because it's looming. And you go, okay, well, you've also got this effect of sinking, haven't you? So you could just label it as sinking then. If you've got some more of your claimed physical geometric sphere edge horizon blocking it by a certain value. But it's not quite enough value. There's a bit more visible today than there was yesterday. Therefore, we're going to say it's looming. And you're like, well, no, what's actually happening is it's just being, looked at across a very large distance. And the reason you can't see a bit at the bottom is because it's sinking a bit on a flat plane. In other words, you've got a stalemate. But they would never accept sinking because they've only ever got looming. Because they're only ever begging the question that things are being projected up from behind an Earth curve because they've only got one assertion, Earth curve. And they've only got one version of refraction, that's terrestrial refraction, 7/6 of Earth curve. So they're pretty screwed in terms of what they can do. They're limited to looming and reifying that into what is actually terrestrial refraction 7/6R by description. So they used to call it looming when they were baiting and switching us. Well, looming being a description of an optical effect you see in nature, and them then superimposing their terrestrial refraction at some point where we didn't notice. And then eventually we started to notice, hold on, this isn't refraction. In your maths, you've got 7/6R. It's based on R. Now we say, where are you getting R from? We've debunked your geometric horizon. Hey, Quantum Eraser. We're giving you a lot of praise today.
What?
One of the panel came on and was talking about having someone over a barrel in terms of the scientific method. And I was like, yay, big shout out to Quantum Eraser. Who would have known that what we were learning in 5th grade whilst scribbling little moustaches on the sperms at page 37 was actually going to be useful for debunking heliocentricity? Shout out to Quantum Eraser. Good to have you here.
Did you say scribbling mustaches?
It's a Red Dwarf joke. So when he's talking about being in a science class and not paying attention, he describes flicking to page 37 and drawing little beards and moustaches on all the sperms. In other words, not paying attention.
Yeah. Thanks, I got that part.
Yeah, I thought you would, but we do have an audience.
Hey, thanks for the shout-outs, man.
That's cool. I also plugged your show. So yesterday, I was about to call you by your name. Quantum Eraser did an excellent show on the Quantum Eraser channel in regards to Hillbilly Blue Balls, the redneck retard, officially known as Blue Marble Science, or, let me get this right, the photoelectric retard? Photosynthetic?
No,
photosynthetic.
No. The photosynthetic redneck.
The photosynthetic redneck. So a lot of effort was put into pulling apart an endless stream, a diatribe of complete double-speak contradictions. So, a lot of work, but we're in an arena where people will, if unchallenged, be accepted by people with, let's be brutally honest, of low intelligence. So, my and Robert Pisano's...
Can I shout out?
Go on.
Can I shout out my favorite quote of the whole thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's heavier not because of relative density. It's heavier because it's more dense. I'll just leave it at that.
That was classic.
Oh.
Yeah, I was scribbling down notes throughout the whole show, and Quantum Eraser was changing the order. He was asking people for their responses on, and in that respect, you got there first. Oh, bugger! That was the best quote.
I'm not even gonna lie. For the first time, I had to scribble notes too. Like, oh my god, I don't even know. I don't know where to go. It's too much. Too much nonsense.
It was. That's the
bad.
first. Yeah, that's the first time I've had to scribble down notes in that way. You know, because it wasn't my show, so I'm not like sat with a notepad. Not that I am anyway. I'd be lying if I said I was sat with a notepad. I'm not. But in that regard, you're like, my god, I'm going to have to keep up with a lot of nonsense. I mean, that said, I actually got to read the presentation before the show went out, so I got forewarned. I'm like, I'd already made notes, you know, lost track of them, and then John asked me, he was like, What do you think of the presentation? And I got my notes in front of me. I'm going, this is so convoluted that I don't even understand my own notes reading them back now. You're like, what the hell am I talking about? It's because you're trying to reference doublespeak from him that's being pulled apart by John and referencing back from a third party perspective, which is me, with constructive criticism. You're like, I can't do it. I can't even read my own notes on this. It's so nonsensical. You know, how you did it, Quantum Eraser, is beyond me. And I think you got the same comment from Robert Pisano. Oh, no, it's Adam. He's saying, I said, I wouldn't go to that effort. And Adam was like, I couldn't do it. Well, correction from me. I couldn't either. I couldn't even keep track of my notes on your notes.
Yeah. Well, thanks. It was, yeah. Did anyone hear from him yet?
Anybody? Any
On Blue Marble Science?
We're asking kind of Discord if there's been any rumblings from Blue Marble. Tumbleweeds. I guess not.
Did
I haven't
he
heard
ever
anything.
get back to you about plants creating CO2 and CO2?
No.
Is that a gas? And let's move on and all that. Great.
Yeah,
I want to know how you show
the worst
yourself
part for
after
him
that.
there was that.
Go
Sorry,
on, Brian. Go, Brian, go.
All right,
Brian.
the worst part about it for him was that I wasn't acting like I was an expert. I was just going to give him generalized knowledge on that. You know what I mean? Because that's all I'd have. But he started speaking like he was an expert, you know, and he even laughed at me during it. I think that was the point. That was the part. It was just like, and he was wrong. You know, I mean, you can't be acting like an expert if you're not. And that was the worst part for him. That was the most embarrassing part because he laughed. It doesn't matter if it's me or whoever he's laughing at. It doesn't matter who he's laughing at. If he's wrong and he's laughing at them because he's acting like an expert when he's not, you know.
While
He
he's
doesn't.
laughing and
No,
mocking you.
it's like,
Yeah, Dunning-Kruger.
yeah,
Dunning-Kruger, that's what you're describing.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I wasn't
Yeah.
100% right, but I was more right than he was.
Yeah, but he couldn't even form a coherent response to your question after you asked him, and it was just a little bit of stuttering and stammering, and then it was just let's move on. So Brian's question got completely disregarded, and it's just ridiculous. What the hell?
Yeah, he didn't want to talk about cycles in the atmosphere. I mean, I wanted to talk about cycles in the world. I wanted to talk about our world, you know, and you know, it's like from my just as an observer, it's an automated system, right? Everything is constantly working in cycles. The sun does the same thing every year. The moon does the same thing. The seasons are the same. Okay, we may have one colder winter, one warmer summer, one year, but it's all the same. It's all acting the same. It's like a one big automated system. So it's all cycles. I wanted to get talking about that. So he can't deny that. And then, you know, I was going on to something else, but he
hold
avoided
on.
that. I don't know how we ended up talking about that.
Hold on, that's a perfect segue because I've been waiting for
Yeah.
I've got to now use the segue because we're running out of time. A couple of things. So we haven't asked the last housekeeping question, which is exactly on that, which you didn't get to. But I just want to point out to my audience and sort of appeal to them. There's 100 less people watching this live show for the last 6 weeks because of Corona. God only knows why a captive audience has left me with 100 less people watching, but that's just the state of affairs at the moment without me speculating about why. So please smash that share button, share the show. But yeah, so any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container. Hooray, we did all the housekeeping.
No.
Mostly down, gradient.
That was more of a lead-in.
They
That was
start
more.
creating an equilibrium with the gas pressure expansion. Yeah.
I was leading like Brian really because I wanted him to, discuss what he didn't get to talk about and why he didn't get to talk about and his objectives, etc., etc.
All right, thanks. I just went quiet because I thought I'm talking too much. No, we don't have gas pressure without a container. I even asked Blue Marble Science, could he have done what he did without the pipe? And he said his answer was, I would have needed a whole lot more butane. Like, there's no way to show in any physical demonstration gas pressure without a container. So there's certainly no way to show a gas pressure gradient without a container because you have to have gas pressure first. So no, there is absolutely no physical demonstration that anyone can produce of gas pressure without a container. It's just not done. Can't be done. But there is a claim that the sky is a vacuum and the atmosphere has a linear downward weight. But that's not my claim.
No,
There was a
no. That's not their claim.
Gravity.
Their claim is
Gravity is the container.
holy he gotta fucking open his mouth, man. What the fuck?
Just, hey, please, Quantum Eraser, please don't interrupt him. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Oh, we could have 10 seconds of dead air. That's also good.
Did you hear me talking? Arwen.
Oh, you're talking to me?
You're doing it deliberately, Arwen. You know it. I know you're doing this deliberately.
I might be. I don't know.
He's a little bastard. Listen, I might be. You little weasel. You're just trying to wind him up. I know you are.
Well, it's payback for yesterday's show, man. Man, QE, you did a brilliant job, but you made me sit through like half-hour listening to that guy. That's a half hour I can't take back from my life and physically hurt my brain.
It's got a point.
Bro, we've got masterpieces of intelligence, such as it's not heavier because of relative density. It's heavier because it's more dense.
That's classic.
So
though.
just for that, it was worth it. So thank you, John.
Hey, number one, I didn't make Arwen do anything. He arrived there on his own. Number two, the new argument is I've been stressing this to you. Get ready. Atmospheric pressure is not gas pressure. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. Go on.
I heard
What's
that
Atmo?
yesterday all night.
Hold on. What's Atmo?
Air.
That's gas.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what is air made out of? What is it made out of?
Gas.
Gas, but only on the really is level.
Oh, sorry. John, Quantum Eraser, you didn't mention that this wasn't on the really is level now, did you?
We're not allowed to talk about this.
So we could take it as a pseudo kind of real then.
Pseudo real. That's good.
What's the title of this show? I haven't given that to the audience yet.
1155 live.
No, not my show. Quantum Eraser's show that we're talking about.
Oh, sorry.
Blue marble, no marble science thrashed.
So check it out, Quantum Eraser channel.
I want to know how this guy shows himself anywhere after yesterday.
Oh, he will.
I would say he probably won't watch it. I would say he just avoid watching it.
He better.
Haven't heard any baller comments. Anybody in Discord got anything to say on it? Did anybody see the presentation? Anybody object to anything that was being said about blue marble science and its contradictions?
I think that a question some people may be pondering on is, like, why do you even take the effort anymore? The guy's clearly just psychotic, and everybody's just letting him blunder because it's like, yeah, we can't really do anything about him anyway. On the baller side, I think. So
Because
as long as he believes in the ball,
new people who are coming into this now will hear this nonsense, hear the stuff that they say, and they can make their own decision.
Hold on. Me, Robert, now, not chocolate, Arwen have all got the same question. So, from the horse's mouth, why go to all that effort, I think, is the question, Quantum Eraser.
Expose pretender clowns. I told you guys a long time ago. My mission is to expose liars. That's why.
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who tuned in on the Nathan Oakley 1980 live stream, for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. If you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, however, stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Another massive thank you to Discord and G+ Panels for making this live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on the premiering stream, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!